6-foot greenhouses. They're both heated, mainly primarily propane, backup source electric and or propane. And so the idea there is that they're heated. So the one greenhouse we're kind of heading south more or less. So this is kind of the western greenhouse over here, and the eastern over here. So the western is mainly for it's what we would call a prop house. So that's where all the propagation, all the seeding happens, and there's also crops in the ground in there as well. And then this one on the right is mainly all in the ground crops. And so the idea, of this being a 52-week CSA is that obviously you need warmth, you need some heat in the winter. So both of these are heated throughout the winter to grow a variety of things, of course, mainly greens, your hardier stuff like kale, maybe some turnips, spicy green spinach, that kind of thing. And then out here, like Sarah was saying, all of these beds are more or less what we'll be called permanent beds. So they're never inverted or tilled over, brought back up. So that's to keep weed seeds at bay, where you're just tilling the top 2 inches of soil about, which they have special implements for. This is all kind of modeled after a guy in Canada, a French kind of a bio-intensive gardener named Jean-Martin Fortier. And so that's kind of the model that they're following. If you're ever interested, you can Google him, and he has some cool videos and stuff, even for your own garden tips. All this fabric is for windbreak, in case you're wondering. So it gets very windy up here, so they've put in some windbreaks to help with that. And so you can see some permanent beds in the ground here. All the white stuff is row cover. And
what is that material? What's the row cover?
It's called Rime or row cover. There are different companies that make different brands, but basically water can get through, but it also holds in heat and keeps insects out. So that's mainly what it's used for, typically, And hey, what's up? Hey, Matt. This is Matt, everybody.
Hey, Matt.
How are all of you?
He's the other partner in crime here.
Y'all are all from Jubilee, right?
Pretty much.
Thank you for hosting the CSA fair. We really appreciate that. That was massively helpful for us. So.
Good.
Yeah, it's great. It's a really huge resource for a small and relatively new farm operation like ours. So, thanks.
Cool.
Thank you.
So what's planted out here under all these? You got onions here.
Matt can do a quick rundown, I guess.
Yeah, so this is garlic actually.
Oh.
Right now, under cover, there's cabbage, broccoli, carrots, radishes, peas, salad mix, lettuce heads. I'm leaving something out, I'm sure. And then there's still some things in the ground in the greenhouses in addition to all of the plant starts that we have in there. So basically every week we're moving more and more things into the ground out here and putting row cover over them until things warm up permanently, because inevitably we're going to have another freeze in another night or two or something. So, but the row cover is super. We're doing a 52-week CSA this year, and the row cover is pretty. I would say this is maybe the greatest invention in the history of small-scale agriculture. It's great for pest control too, so that we're not trying to sell vegetables with holes in them to people.
Yes.
It's a problem.
So how many hands do you have at work to accomplish this scale? Is it just the two of you?
It's my partner and I, and then you can come over here too. It's the two of us, and then we have several interns that are going to be helping us part-time this season. So on any given day, there's maybe 3 or possibly 4 people working out here, which is very manageable. I mean, the way that we're growing is we're not using a tractor. We're using that walk-behind tractor that you saw me using down there. And we do all of this with hand tools, which is possible because everything is spaced so closely together. This is a one-time thing that we're doing right now, building all of our beds. We don't have like a tractor that we use to rebuild and mound beds every year. So this is market gardening. This is basically like your home garden times an acre and a quarter or something. So.
See any deer out here?
What's that?
Sometimes we haven't had
Deer?
problems with them yet, but we're prepared to this year.
What was the question, Tim?
Deer.
Our deer
And
problem.
what would you do to keep the deer at bay?
You can use a line of, because they'll just laugh at this fence right here.
Yeah.
So
Right.
you can use a line of
Electric?
Single wire.
tape, yeah, like a single line that's really visible, like yellow or orange, and they'll learn to respect that line. That works better than netting or whatever. It's
And
much
they won't
cheaper.
jump over it?
No, they'll walk into it and freak out, and then they won't come near it again. So,
And you bait it typically too. Put some peanut butter and some tinfoil. They'll come up,
Yeah.
get shocked, and then they realize that that's
which I used to feel bad about, but I've shocked myself on electric fence so many
Right,
times
so
at
many
this point that I feel like we're even, maybe.
Charge is probably good for you every now and then.
It
Yeah,
definitely wakes you up if you're kind of dragging it.
Yeah, we've cut back on caffeine.
Electricity comes up.
How about insects during the summer? Do you have a way?
So we do, anywhere around here, I think massive insect problems are just going to be a given. So, you know, the better the soil is, the healthier the plants are, the less they're going to be susceptible to things like flea beetles and cabbage moths and stuff. But this row cover is weighted such that it actually provides temperature protection as well, so it's a few degrees warmer under there than it is out here. But in the summer we switch it out for a thinner stuff that keeps insects off.
So you're
but
covering them around the
not every single thing, but stuff that's pest prone, like
Right.
things in the Brassicaceae family, and so you know, turnips, radishes, broccoli, cabbage, Asian greens, some of the little things that we put into our salad mix, all of that stuff. We have to keep covered basically all year, because otherwise, like I said, we end up with vegetables with holes in them, which I don't really feel good about. You know, organic shouldn't. I don't think organic should mean, you know, low quality or ugly or whatever. So
Have you thought of natural pesticide substances that aren't pesticides?
like
but
BT and stuff. or-
natural deterrents.
like BT or something like that, or
What
what do you?
BT?
It's a bacteria that you spray that the insects come in contact with, and
Even simpler than that. Or some of the ones, the bee lady gave a long list. The bee lady that came to Jubilee.
so a lot
Was
of
that
different. I know, just a lot of things like that. Like maybe you mean like interplanting some herbs and things,
Or
and then
things like maybe she used vinegar for something, you know.
yeah.
that
So
kind of stuff.
for like aphids, for example, we can use an insecticidal soap spray, which is totally benign and rinses off of the leaves just like dish soap would off of your hands. But a lot of kind of less in the chemical world or whatever, things like that. Sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, depending on how bad the pest infestation is. And for us, we are operating on a very like narrow margin, trying to make it as farmers. So we just kind of can't take the risk that maybe it works 100%, or maybe every single thing that we harvest is a little messed up, but predominantly still intact. And we just don't like to give things like those to CSA members, because then I feel like I've done a bad job, you know. So.
Have you grown beans under these? Or what method would you use for control, or do you just stay away from growing beans?
For beans?
Yeah, because the bean beetles are a big problem.
Yeah, so we do bush beans,
Yeah, bush.
as opposed so like determinate varieties, so
Mhm.
that they're not going to get, you know.
Yeah.
And those white hoops, the taller tunnels right there, you can do that as opposed to these super low ones. So if you want to cover beans, you could, you know, as long as you're growing a determinate variety that's not going to, you know, need a trellis and go up really tall.
Does it keep them out pretty well, the bean beetles?
Yeah, I mean these keep flea beetles out, which are
Flea beetles.
which are microscopically small.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and will get in anywhere and everywhere that they can.
I'm very familiar with them,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Also doing different mini plantings of beans is also a way to.
Right, yeah, we do succession crop beans.
So every 2
we
weeks.
succession crop everything, but yeah, we don't just do one plant. So then as they start to get eaten, for example, our squash, we succession crop because between disease and an insect pest with squash, trying to keep one crop in the ground all summer is really kind of a failed attempt on, I think anyway. Like it's just never, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So we just succession crop and we get, 4 to 6 weeks of good crop out of this plant, and then we just say, okay, we move on to the next bed of plants. So
What's your irrigation?
we actually it'll be delivered in the irrigation that we're setting up for the site should be here in a few days. It's basically a a single line of 1-inch pipe that runs from the beginning of this plot all the way down the beds to the very, basically to where our little tractor is down there. And it has hookups, connections every 20 or so feet that you can pop a hose into and then run down in between the beds. So we use primarily micro sprinklers for germination and for transplants, overhead irrigation for in the summer when we're not getting enough rain maybe and we need to actually just properly give things moisture once a week. And then we use some drip tape in the greenhouses for tomatoes, and then for things that are in the ground all summer, like peppers and eggplant. But we do so many succession plantings that drip tape all across the field isn't really practical. It's too much work. Because we cultivate everything by hand, because we're using hose, pulling around drip tape is pretty frustrating because you're already dealing with these close spacings, and then you have drip tape to deal with, and so you have to move it, and then so anyway.
So you're able to adequately water these rows with the Rayman over top?
Yeah, so the newer it is, and Chris might have already said this, but the newer it is, the more impervious it is to water. The longer it sits out here in the weather, the more water permeable it gets.
Okay.
But even at the very beginning, it's already permeable to water. So it takes a bit longer because some of the water will hit it and run off, but water still gets through.
Yeah.
So you have to water a little more, but trying to, you're kind of defeating the purpose of putting them over there if you take them off to water, because pests are just going to go, they'll right through as soon as you lift it out. So we're like pull them up and harvest and get them back down really fast. So.
Yep.
Does your water come from a well then?
Yeah, there's a well here. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for asking us questions. If anyone would like a CSA share, you can.
Yeah, I was gonna. Are you guys still taking sign?
We are for
Great.
the first 52-week Fresh
Say
Vegetable
that
CSA.
question again, Mike.
Sorry?
Say that again.
Oh, if anyone would like a CSA share, just some shameless self-promotion on my part. Sorry.
Okay.
Where's pickup at?
We have 3. One is at the French Broad Food Co-op tailgate market Wednesday afternoons, because we were at that market this year. Friday evenings, like after you get off work here at the farm, and then Saturday mornings at the city market on Charlotte Street, downtown farmers market. So, and we're also doing delivery this year for $5 a week. It's something we're going to try and see how it goes. We have some people going in together on shares that live in the same neighborhood or really close to each other and splitting the delivery fee. So we're trying that too. But yeah, if you go to secondspringfarm.com, you can sign up for a share. So anyway.
Thanks, guys.